Hello everyone! The clip you're about to hear is from one of our exclusive Patreon episodes on a recent horror release, and just like all of our other episodes, it might include major spoilers for said horror release, so don't listen to it if you haven't already seen it. You've officially been warned. And if you'd like to hear the full episode, just head on over to patreon.com/horrorqueers and subscribe today. Without further ado, here is your exclusive Patreon clip. I'll just jump right in, Joe. So truthfully, I did prefer season 1 to season 2 overall, but... Okay, so you know how every episode starts with the orchestra getting up and it feels like a stage production, which is kind of meta given that we're taking place in a theater for all this season. Yep. But you and I have discussed, how when we're going to see a musical, let's say, and it's always kind of act 2 is kind of like the downer act, the draggy one, where we always prefer the fun and excitement of act 1.
Right.
That's how I felt about this, because we are splitting a book into 2 seasons and very much going through this theatrical narrative route. So this felt like act 2 of a show that I was watching where I liked it. I really liked this season of television, but it wasn't as fun for me as last season of television.
Yeah, you're right. This is definitely not the fun, exciting thing. And in part, it's because we're coming into a relationship that's 77 years in the making. So, Louis and Armand have been together forever at this point. And it was kind of fun to watch their relationship basically devolve over the course of the season, and we'll get into some of the big trials and tribulations and revelations that come out over the interview process. But I think the first season felt fun because it was the new relationship between Louis and Lestat, so it was on the upswing and brand new and fresh and exciting.
Yeah, and I remember when we covered the film Interview with the Vampire, we were kind of like, oh god, Louis is such a sad sack, he's so boring, blah 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 blah. And that is kind of what Jacob Anderson has to do a lot this season, but I would argue while he is sad and mopey, there's enough going on around him to bring it past it, but also where he ends up this season, I found much more satisfying than the 90s film was.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if nothing else, I think Jacob Anderson is getting to play with better material, but he... and I'm going to say also Eric Bogosian have done a really good job of continuing to make these interviews something that is exciting and interesting to watch. Because I kept thinking, oh, people must be hating this part. But I found some of the best twists that the second season delivered were the ones that were happening in the present in Dubai as we were just staring at each other over a table.
I 100% agree. And it's interesting. Let's say, you haven't read these books, right?
I have not read the books.
Okay. So I didn't do a spoiler dive for myself because I do want to be surprised by some of the stuff that happens in this show, but I didn't know that in the Vampire Lestat, the second book in the series, which is after Interview with the Vampire, there are portions of the book that recount Interview with the Vampire events through Lestat's POV, and some of them are different. But Anne Rice doesn't establish which one is correct, so you have 2 different versions of the same story that has never proven what is what, and so I liked that. I feel like this season plays with that a little bit.